We've talked also about how AI collabs, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Anthropic, whether any one of these platforms, when you go use them, especially for shopping, kind of purposes, or any experience where an ad might work in the environment, is it collapses the purchase funnel. You go in there and you start asking questions. There are more discovery questions. You start getting your answers. You get closer to the path of purchase. You then are pretty soon ready to buy something. You've gotten the answers that you need. Now you need to actually get it and go. And that whole experience is requiring less need for you to click off to other websites. So what Google is doing is that they're answering to this whole experience by saying, we'll just own the user this whole experience all the way through. They'll drive sales to advertisers, but instead of pointing them off to the advertiser's website, they'll just build this dynamic experience, give people the answers that they're looking for, and then hand them off either to the business to make the transaction, or I would imagine pretty soon here, Google's going to announce that you'll be able to make the transaction just right inside Google.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the UCP is all about. That's what the Unified Commerce, or Universal, I forget what it is.
And that helps them with their transition from an purely ad business to ad and transactions.
They have been trying to compete with Amazon for a long, long time. And this UCP now is their second bite at the apple, so to speak. They tried to introduce a shopping cart before it failed. Now, this is a new thing that may help them eat away at some of Apple's leadership in product search and shopping. Or Amazon, rather. I said Apple. Amazon. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, since inception, Google has sort of been known as the front door to the internet. It's everybody's first click, everybody's homepage. And I think now we could just say that it's the internet. It's not even the front door anymore. Like as they sort of slurp up all these other activities, it's like
front door and the back door.
Yeah.
Well, they're certainly not going to let OpenAI take their lunch here. That's for sure.
Yeah. You have to wonder if like the time on site metric actually starts to matter for them where it historically hasn't.
Oh yeah, it totally matters for them in terms of search rankings. They track that kind of stuff. If you click through and you bounce, they demote that site. If you click through and spend time on that site,
I mean how much time people are spending on Google.
Oh, Google on Google.
Before they kind of deprecated that as an important metric because they wanted people going away to other places. I'm wondering if now it looks more like the YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure internally that's a metric that they track.
Yeah.
Well, and they'll be able to track it all the way through the transaction. And all that is more data that they have on the users so that they can target users for other things and follow on purchases. And just like you get in Amazon when it's time for you to repurchase something that they'll suggest. And some of it is in response to the query that you're giving them. Others are going to be introducing, hey, you bought this thing a few months ago, you need to renew it. Got a new one here for you.
There's a much longer conversation about personalization and personal data and what Google does with it and how that all plays into this, but we can't have that right now because we're close to the end today.
All right. We're up on time. We'll skip the efficiency conversation.
In the interest of efficiency.
Yeah. Neal, tell us a little bit about this app that you created. I think it's really interesting. It's great notes from the field.
Yeah, we're hosting a wedding in August, and I went into Claude. I said, I need an app for my guests who are going to be there for 3 days. Can you build me an app? And I gave it the link to the Zola website that my kids have already put together, and it created this really, really nicely done using the same color schemes that's on the Zola stuff. And then it said, you want a QR code, you can push that to all your guests. And instead of them going to the site, the Zola site that has it sort of by days, it'll have just the timeline where you need to be, when you need to be somewhere, what's going on at that moment. It's got pictures, you can upload stuff. It's a beautiful little app that took 60 seconds to build. For me, I got to figure out how to distribute it to the guests and make sure it's working. But it's that kind of stuff that the human can do with this this technology that really, despite all the media attention about AI being bad and look, our civilization is going to end, you can do some really cool stuff that will make our guests have a better experience at this event we're hosting. And Greg, we used to hold those conferences and we'd build an app and it took, months to build these apps. And
They were expensive and you couldn't get people to use them.
And nobody used them. Right. This was 60 seconds. It cost me nothing.
Back in the early days of web publishing, I was running a company called Clickability, and we had this blog called Everybody's a Publisher, because the big thing was that anybody could put together a blog or some other way to publish, their ideas, their content, whatever. I think we've moved into the Everybody's a Developer realm, and that probably needs to be a new blog.
And this is really the opportunity for these Gen Z folks or people coming out of college right now, is to really understand these tools and demonstrate what they're capable of doing.
We're up on time for today. Thank you all for listening. Please like and share and subscribe. It trains the algorithm. It helps us out, and we really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
The wedding app Neal built in 60 seconds? That's just the beginning. This is the moment where AI stops being something you read about in the news and becomes something you actually use to build things. The question isn't whether you should learn AI anymore, it's whether you can afford not to.